Starting off with clean moisturized skin. I do have dry skin. My moisturizer is going to soak in really fast. If you have oily skin, I would recommend putting a powder down first to soak up some of that oil and moisturizer so that your product doesn't move around and your brows can last all day. I'm just using a NYX micro brow pencil to brush my hairs into place. Any spoolie, brush, comb will work. So now I'm taking this pencil and I'm going to start at where the dip of my nose should be. As you can see, I have a flat nose. And I'm going to go straight up. I'm going to start at the side of my nose and the middle of my eye and go straight up. Then the side of my nose and the side of my eye and straight up. Now this is going to create the symmetrical shape for our brow that's going to look the best. It's a universal trick. It works, believe me. The pencil I'm using is from the hair store. It's just a simple dollar pencil. And this is what I like to use for my makeup brows. These are makeup brows, not everyday brows. We're not doing this every day. This is a little too much for every day. But let me know if you do want to see an everyday brow routine, because I could do that too. When I learned how to do brows, they taught us that a good brow is like a good bra. A good brow gives you lift, support, and coverage. Right now, we're going to work on support, which is our bottom line. Kind of like connecting the dots, but obviously these are lines. We're going to go from line 1 to line 2. It's better to work with the front half and then the back half. Especially in the beginning, it's a little bit less stressful and you can kind of see where you're going before you get there. I know you've heard it before, but I'm going to say it still. Brows are sisters, not twins. They do not have to be 100% identical. Now that we have our support, we are going to move on to our lift. So I'm making straight up strokes in the front of my brow to mimic my natural hair. In the front, my brows do grow up. In the end of the brow, the hair grows more to the side. So we're just going to make our strokes working with the front half and then the back half. Now the pencil I'm using is thicker and creamier, so it goes on easy. It's not good for oily skin. I'm telling you right now, it will come off. You will have to use some type of powder to set it. But for my dry skin, it's fine. If you want something that's not going to move, that NYX micro brow pencil is better as far as consistency, but it's smaller and it's harder, so you'll actually have to apply a lot of pressure to put it on. Now the color I'm using is dark brown. That's just the color I like. You can use whatever color you choose. If you're going to use a darker pomade, try to use a lighter pencil. Now that we're done with the pencil, we're just going to brush everything together using our spoolie. I'm using the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in the color Ebony. I have 2 pomades that I like to use. This one I find lasts me a lot longer as far as how many times I can use it on my brows and how long it stays on. I also like that it doesn't dry out, unlike the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro. Now the Studio Pro is a great product, but it gets really dry really quick and it can be very frustrating to work with, but it is more on the affordable side if that's what you're looking for. The brush I'm using is by Anastasia as well. It's double-sided. We want brushes that are very flat so our product can go on smooth. We don't want product to be hunky and chunky. I'm going to show you an example of a brush that doesn't get flat. So I'm doing the same thing I did with the pencil, going straight up in the front half of my brow, going over to the side towards the end of my brow. I'm not using a bunch of product. You don't need a lot because we already have pencil. Now more than likely when you're doing it my way, your brows are going to look worse before they get better, but just trust the process. The pomade is going to be our coverage so that our brows aren't super see-through and they look more full. Take your time when you're using the pomade because you don't want to apply too much pressure or product. It will definitely show. Like I said, these are makeup brows, so I want them to be a little intense, but we don't want them to be crazy intense. I know to a lot of people this is still a lot, but to me, I think it's beautiful. So I'm going back to the bottom of my brow, which is where we created our support line, and I'm going to just define it a little bit more. Now this is the type of brush you would not want to use to fill your brows in or clean them up. The hairs are too dense, the brush is too thick, so when you apply the product, it will not go on flat and smooth. Now I'm not saying you have to use an Anastasia brush, I'm just saying you have to use a brush that gets very flat when product is applied to it. I like that this brush is double-sided because it acts like a pencil. One side I write with and the other side I erase with. As you've seen in the front, I went back with my spoolie just to blend in my mess up. The pencil did most of the work for us, and it's a great outline that's really beginner friendly. When you just use a pomade, you can look crazy really quick. It's very easy to get out of control with that. I feel like the pencil controls things a little bit easier, and it helps you to see, like I said, where you're going before you get there. And I also like the pomade because it does define the brows and it makes them last longer. Now if you feel you need to add or take away from the brow, you can until you are ready to conceal. I am using the LA Girl Pro. I like using this concealer because it's a thicker consistency. You don't want to use something that's thin and runny, especially if you have a lot of hair under your brow, because it will not conceal it. Also, you don't want that concealer mixing with the pomade if you do happen to mess up, which I will mess up and show you more so what I mean. I put my concealer on a flashcard and I press my brush in it and swipe back and forth just to make sure that it keeps the bristles as flat as possible. If your concealer is runny or wet, you can thicken it up by simply putting it out. So take enough out that you will use in one setting, put it on a paper towel or a napkin, let it sit in the air, and it should get thicker. Now this is a brush from BH Cosmetics. It's from their Pop Art collection. The last time I checked, it was sold out, but if it's not, I'll link it down below. To clean the brows up, I do exactly what I did with the pencil and the pomade, except I like to start at the arch of the brow. I don't know why, it just feels better to me, and I keep applying my concealer until the brows are as clean as I want them to be. Now I'm going to show you, I'm about to mess up a little bit on this brow, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. So to fix it, you want to take your brush and a little bit of pomade, press it up into the line. You don't want to start at the top of the line and go into the brow, because you'll be dragging concealer into the brow and then it'll be much harder to fix. So you want to start in the brow and push up, not outside the brow and push down. I just keep looking to make sure they're even. They're not too far off. I know they're not going to be perfect, but good enough. The way you decide to arch your brows is up to you. You can go higher than me, you can go lower to me. That's a preference thing, but the technique doesn't really change. You want to use short, light strokes of product. You don't want to use a lot. You want to use a flat brush. You want to make sure that you're not putting too much product at one time. Always blending out what you do put on, and of course cleaning your brows up. So now I'm showing you my fluffy blending concealer brush by It Cosmetics. I'm using that to blend out the concealer. Now usually I don't do this because I do these brows, well I do my brows first and then the rest of my makeup, and my foundation will blend the concealer out. But I'm doing this so I can show you how I do the middle of the brows. Now, if you have a lot of hair under your brows, that thicker concealer is what's going to save you. I just waxed my brows a couple days ago, so they're not that bad, but I'm taking my thicker concealer and I'm pushing it in the same direction that the hair grows, and I'm going to leave it. It's not going to be harsh. We're going to blend out the bottom line, not on top where we put the concealer, but the bottom line. Now, as far as concealer color, I like to go a little bit lighter, just because it makes them stand out more, but on my everyday brows I tend to go with the concealer. That's my same skin color. And I'm doing the same thing, using my thicker concealer to conceal the hairs under my brows. Then I'm taking whatever's left on the brush and going into the middle, blending out the corners because they are harsh. And then I'm just going to use my finger. Now I'm taking my spoolie, which a spoolie is a mascara wand slash eyebrow brush, and I'm going to brush back towards the end of the brow. To make sure they're lined up perfectly, I'm going to make the concealer meet right in the middle of my forehead. It's not going to sit like that, it's just giving me a visual. So I'm doing the video slower so I can really show what I'm doing. It doesn't take me this long to typically do my brows. It takes a while, but not this long. Then I'm just going back, adding more pomade or concealer, blending where I need to, of course, brushing my product into the brow. We have our lift, we have our support, and we are finishing up our coverage. Now I'm just taking a clean spoolie mascara wand to brush everything in together. Clean meaning there's no product on it. This is a new one than what I've been using in the video, but you can use the same one that we used earlier. Just make sure that you wipe everything off of it. And this is how the brows are looking. I'm gonna turn the light down so you can see. I felt like it was a little bit too bright, but this is how the brows are. Now I'm taking this Essence Lash and Brow Gel. It comes clear, but mine is dark because I do use it on my brows very often. I do not put this on my lashes, so do not worry. This is a secret weapon. It's my holy grail. I use this every single time. A brow gel gives you an extra oomph. It makes your hairs within your brow stand up straight, so it gives kind of like a peekaboo effect, and you can actually see movement in the brows, which I like. Sometimes I don't brush my hairs down like I'm doing right now. Sometimes I leave them standing up because I just like the way it looks, but it just depends how I'm feeling that day. But this stuff is magical. I get it from Ulta. It's like $3 or $4, and I think it's truly something that everybody needs. And this is the finished product. These are my makeup brows, not my everyday brows, beginner friendly tutorial. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed to my channel. And make sure you're following me on Instagram, you guys, with Arielle_. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.